I was so surprised and I was shocked. And I just want to say that was one huge lesson that I learned. Hi, you guys. I'm Crystal Sherrill from Indie Artist School. Welcome to The Singer's Arsenal. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 things that I learned throughout my years of being a professional singer. And I'm sure some of these things might actually resonate with you as well. All right, let's talk about it. So the first thing that I learned as a singer was that you must protect your voice at all costs. Your voice is a precious resource that you must take care of. Never, ever take your voice for granted. Even if you don't have the perfect voice, or you wish you sounded like someone else, or there's some problems that you're suffering with your voice is unique, okay? There is someone out there who hears your voice and thinks that little thing that you hate about your voice is absolutely the best thing about your voice. And I didn't know that until I became a professional singer. Those of you who know about my episode, who've watched it about how to sound unique, I talked about timbre. Timbre has to do with the color of your voice. One of the first things that I used to say about my voice is that it was too dark, too heavy. I wanted my voice to actually sound a little bit more light and airy, like and na 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 na. I don't know why. It makes zero sense. I think there is space in the world for all different voice types, but honestly, it's one of those things, like the grass always seems greener on the other side. There's somebody somewhere who's like, my voice sounds too tinny, too bright, and I wish it had that dark, rich color that your voice has. And I was like, why is my voice so low? And so I used to be really insecure about that. It wasn't until I started booking gigs and singing anyway, even though I was insecure about my voice, and I just let my freak flag fly, so to speak, that I started getting compliments about the dark color of my voice. I was so surprised and I was shocked. And I just want to say that was one huge lesson that I learned, is that you should never take your voice for granted. Don't judge it too harshly, because I bet you there's someone out there who wishes they had what you had, okay? And so what you want to make sure you do is take care of it at all costs. I started gigging and I just saw my voice as a product to sell at one point. And so I was overextending myself, booking way too many gigs and not recuperating and taking care of my voice. This is years ago, before I knew, but I was totally exhausted. And then I started losing my voice, you guys. And I started freaking out, like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Why is my voice sounding different? It's not reliable. I feel like I lose my voice every other day. And it was because I took my voice for granted. I was just like using my voice like a workhorse and not saying, it's okay, baby. If you're tired, let's take a moment. Let's have some vocal rest. Let's drink some water. Let's drink some tea. Let's make sure we're rested. Let's make sure you have a complete vocal regimen. All of those things that I talked about in my vocal health episode that I knew about but didn't actually do for myself, because you guessed it, I was taking it for granted. And so that was a huge thing I learned. All right, so what other thing did I learn as a singer? Man, where do I start? Training actually makes a difference, okay? So there is a lot of misconceptions about, just having a talent or a gift and that being the full extent of what you're able to do as a vocalist. And I know for sure in the beginning, I totally thought that way. And I was just like, yep, the voice I got, and all the quirks and nooks and crannies of the shortcomings that I have are there to stay and will always be there to stay. When the truth was, I could take full control over, building up my stamina, building up my breath control, and actually training my voice. I started training my own voice and listening to myself over the years and realizing that I was actually seeing huge improvements. And that's when I started sharing what I learned with other people. It was actually a freak accident, kind of. Like, I was at a gig and I had someone who had watched me and followed me for years say, oh my God, you sound so much more polished. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm training my voice. And they're like, who are you going to? I'm like, myself. And they were like, what? And I was like, yes. And so they asked me to teach them stuff right on the spot. And it was super crazy because it was in between a break I had between sets. People were looking at us like, what is she doing right now? Is she signing something? Or why is she moving her hands like this? Why is she telling this person how to breathe? Like, it was super weird. But anyway, that's when I knew I had a calling, okay? I knew that I was going to be very passionate about vocal coaching. I'm going to use this moment to tell you that I'm a vocal coach in case you didn't know. Hey, gotta love a good segue, okay? And I have an online course called the R&B Singers Arsenal. You should go check it out on my website, www.indieartistschool.com. I'm also going to put a link in my bio and in the comments section so that you can click to go directly to the course. I'm teaching you how to sing R&B to the best of your ability and overcome all of those little things that are getting in the way of you singing fully without straining and improving your pitch accuracy, okay? That is the R&B Singers Arsenal. Also, while you're here, I just want to say thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. And for those of you who are also subscribing to the podcast, if you'd like to support too, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, and like and comment. Let me know what you think. And also, if you are listening on the podcast, I want you to go ahead and subscribe by going to anchor.fm/thesingersarsenal/support. That's anchor.fm/thesingersarsenal/support. All right, let's keep it moving. The third thing that I learned as a singer is that self-confidence is contagious. Oh my gosh, I can't stress this enough. It's pretty crazy because you may or may not believe this, but I gotta tell you the truth. I was a nervous wreck for years. Huge performance anxiety, okay? I was making things happen either way, but I gotta tell you, inside, I was freaking out every show I had. And I was like, oh my gosh, why do I feel this way? And one of the things I learned through training and through a lot of experience is that, you know what? The minute you exude confidence, everybody else in the room is a little bit more confident about what you're able to do. It was the weirdest phenomenon. The thing I started doing, phenomenon. Okay, anyway, I don't know. That was so corny. What I started noticing is that as long as I stood confidently and I took a breath and I spoke with confidence, the rest of my gig went so much more smoothly because also, not only did I feel confident after I showed it, but people would mirror it back. And it really helped me feel a little bit more comfortable with my own performance because I could tell that people were like, okay, who is this girl? She must have a little something, something. I started noticing that when you walk with confidence and you get on stage and you're fully engaged in the actual performance, that the people who are listening to you start believing in you a little bit more and they're really engaged in the performance as well. And next thing you know, you're actually confident. But you can fake it till you make it, straight up. You really can. But I just got to say, self-confidence is contagious because when you believe in yourself, other people believe in you. And this also correlates not only to just the live performance, but even as a career. If you ever tried to pursue the arts, you already know there are naysayers. There are people who tell you that makes no sense. It's not logical, blah, 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 blah. And, people are like, oh, can you sing? You can sing. If you ever tell someone that you want to release an album or you're a singer, notice what they're doing. Their opinion is based on how you tell them the information, okay? So if you tell somebody, yeah, I'm a singer and I have an album that I'm thinking about releasing, but I don't know. What do you think? And I might drop something. I'm telling you, they're not gonna wanna buy your album. I'll tell you that right now. You're not making a fan when you do that. You're telling that person, I am freaking out. And here's the deal. It's totally normal to freak out and be a little insecure about whether or not you're on the right path and singing is the right choice for you. But I just gotta say, do your best to say what you wanna do confidently, or don't say it at all, okay? Just wait until you feel a little bit more confident to where you can tell your friends or tell your family that you're doing this and say it with your chest, okay? You gotta be like, yeah, I'm singing. I've been working and I have an album I'm about to drop in 3 months, and I've been training. And if you can say it confidently, then everybody will be like, oh, okay, maybe she's serious about this thing, or maybe he's serious about this. Maybe we should give it a listen because they believe in it. Then maybe I should too. I'm telling you, I'll say this again, even though this is the third thing, it's a huge thing. Self-confidence is contagious. All right. Now, if you're watching this right now or listening and you're thinking to yourself, ooh, I just want you to know it's okay and it's completely normal to not feel that confident. Honestly, I call this the artist dilemma, okay? Because we're really sensitive about the work that we put out there. And as a byproduct, it can mean we can feel a little insecure and totally naked when we put our stuff out there, when we record ourselves singing and we share it and post it on the internet, or whatever method that you choose to release your music. There is a little moment of like, hope they like this, because oh my gosh, it's gonna hurt if they don't. But if you put it out there like, I think I'm gonna put it out there, I just can't tell you, like the trolls can smell it, okay? Like, they just know that you care a lot, and they know that if they say something, you give them a lot of power. And anytime you show that to people, yeah, you're going to get some people taking advantage. So all I want to tell you right now is exude the confidence you would like to receive. That way people can believe. That rhymed. Should that be a saying? Nah, it's a little clunky, so I'm not going to put it on a shirt or anything, but it did rhyme. Okay. All right. And the fourth thing that I learned as a singer. All right, let's talk about it. This one is a hard one, I'm not gonna lie. The fourth thing that I learned as a singer was that there is no such thing as perfection. Whew. And that's really hard as a coach, right? It's really hard as a vocal coach. And all I do every day is train people how to sing and find their best voice. And I gotta tell you, it's the number one thing that stops people from pursuing their passion, is thinking that they gotta be perfect first. Stop that. You'll never drop an album if you're waiting on it to be perfect. You're never gonna perform a gig if you're waiting on it to be perfect. Here's the thing, it's not ever going to be perfect. Now, can you do your best? Absolutely. And that is what you should strive to do, is do your best and reach your fullest potential. Now that is something that you can do. But one of the things I learned is that there was always something that I could have done better after every single gig. And honestly, it could be hard if I only focused on the things that I was lacking in a gig or in a performance. You know what? I probably wouldn't have been doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I probably wouldn't be passionate about singing. But the truth is, with everything, there is some ups and some downs. With everything, there are some pros and some cons. And for every listener who hears you, there's going to be someone who loves you and someone who's like, it's all right, I guess, or maybe somebody who's a complete like, oh my gosh, I can't stand their voice. Whatever it is, you're going to get a mixed bag. But the thing is, what are you focusing on? Okay, are you striving to please everybody? Because that ain't happening. I'm just saying. So that being said, there is no such thing as perfection. There is no such thing as the ideal voice. There's no such thing as the artist that everybody loves. You can name your favorite artist. I can tell you there is someone out there who hates their music, okay? So if you can think about that and know that your idols have haters, listen, okay? Don't base it on that. I was about to say, let your haters be your motivators, okay? Now, that's so cheesy, but it's real, okay? You got to make sure that you are just striving to be your best. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, and understand that there's no such thing as perfection, only progress, okay? And that is something you can track and do. And now the fifth thing that I learned about being a singer is that success is relative. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, my hopes and dreams were very cliche, cookie cutter. I want to be famous. I want to be signed to a major label. The traditional idea of what people think a professional singer actually is. And I gotta say, I feel so much more successful now than I did then. It's so relative. You could talk to someone who sings and books gigs, and they're being part of a wedding band, and they sing covers all day, and they feel like that's their success, and that's great. And then you find people who are signed to major labels, and they don't feel like they can express themselves, and they don't feel like they've found success either. So it's all about understanding what your true desires are. Maybe you're an independent artist releasing your own music and you're building your fan base. Is that your idea of success? You really got to sit with it and understand, what is it that I really want to achieve with my music? And that is a huge question I had to ask myself, because my original goal was something that I didn't even want for myself. It was just something that I kept seeing and hearing about with those shows like American Idol and The Voice and all of that stuff, X Factor. It makes you think that you must have someone sign off on you for you to be successful. And I'm here to tell you that that's not even necessary. Do you know how many artists are making a good living who hardly anyone knows about? Do you know? There are several. Like, the internet is crazy. You can have a huge fan base and still be kind of underground, but still have wild success. That means you can pay your bills through music. And for some people, that is what success is. Your music is living on past you. That's success. Or maybe success for you is just being able to sing in front of your friends and family without choking, okay? Is to be able to sing and be free and not hold back. Maybe that's your idea of success. Whatever it is, all of these are valid, okay? I just want you to know that success is relative, okay? So let's go back over the 5 things that I learned as a singer, okay? Number 1, never take your voice for granted. Number 2, self-confidence is contagious. 3, training really does make a difference. 4, perfection doesn't even exist. And 5, success is relative. I just want to say, this is my personal experience and what I learned for myself. So I don't want you to take this to mean like every singer is going to learn all 5 of these things in this way. But these are huge things that I think applies to singers everywhere and not just myself. And some of these lessons I had to learn the hard way. So I just wanted to tell you right now, before you spend several years trying to achieve a goal that you don't even want, or before you wreck your voice because you take it for granted. I wanted to discuss it now so that you know what you can learn and take away as a singer and be the best singer you can be. Hopefully these tips or my experiences are helpful to you as a singer. If you're ever wondering why you feel these things, or maybe you're noticing this for yourself, whatever tip or idea or lesson learned that resonates with you the most, leave it in the comments if you're here on YouTube. And if you're on Anchor, I want you to go ahead and make sure that you thumbs up or leave a review on Apple or Spotify as you're listening to this podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for watching and listening. I would love to know what things that you've learned as a singer as well. And while you're here, make sure that you check out my other episodes. Who knows? Maybe there's something there that you can learn and use right away. All right. Thank you guys so much. As always, have a wonderful day and happy singing.